Hello, this is William John Holden, back with another side project I'd like to show off. So I had an idea a while ago for something that'd be fun. So the Cisco ASA contains a show con command. It's a nice command. It shows you the connections going in and out of the firewall. Uh, my idea was originally that, hey, look, here's all this information. We can use this. We can use a GeoIP service to figure out where these outside IP addresses are and visualize them. I spoke to a colleague about this, and he had a great idea. He said, and not exactly these words. He said, instead of using this show con command, let's use the log messages that are automatically generated by the firewall. This is a great idea because this is a lot easier than trying to scrape this information. There isn't an SNMP MIB to get the show con command, so you would have to scrape it somehow. Log messages happen in real time effectively, and it's a lot easier. So what I have here is show run logging. We can see that I've enabled logging. I've put timestamps on it just for fun. Yeah, I don't remember if this was actually necessary or not. I'm logging to a non-standard multicast destination. That's just because I'm lazy and I don't want to worry about the static IP address. I've turned off two logging messages because they created so much noise. I'm using NAT. Obviously, this is in my house. In a production environment, you might not be using NAT, and if not, then you wouldn't need this. The messages that I'm interested in are 305.013 and 14. Those are the log messages that identify TCP connection setup and teardown. So what I've done, I originally wanted to do this as kind of a Unix mentality of receive the messages on a syslog program, pipe that to a program that would, some kind of regular expression type program to extract the IP addresses, pipe that to yet a third program that would perform the GeoIP lookups, and then finally pipe that to a visualization. It didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. The reason is that PowerShell's pipelining is, although syntactically it's the same as CMD and Bash, semantically it's actually quite different. There's some buffering going on when it comes to PowerShell writing in standard input to a non-native, or as in non-PowerShell command. So instead, I just wrote a monolithic Java program to do it all. So here it is. I have a syslog program that's, it's a thread that does syslog. This is the multicast one. It's doing, it's receiving bytes on a multicast socket. Whatever it receives, it strips it sends the entire thing. It creates a string of the entire thing and it puts that in a queue. That queue is in this class that I've for now named FireGuard. It's a terrible name. I'll change it later. The FireGuard has this queue. It reads syslog messages out of the queue. Here we are. We're synchronizing, and we go through the queue. We read all the messages. We look for the ones that match the open pattern. If we do, then we increment. We're going to get the location for that IP address and classify it into, for now, there are vertically, there are 360 classifications, and horizontally, there are 720 classifications. What that tells you is that there's, for each line of latitude or longitude, we get half a degree precision. Then we increment. What this is doing internally is so I had this idea of doing a heat map. I could invest some more time in it, but I'll show you why in a second. It right now is okay in its current state, I guess. It's not actually a heat map right now, so this increment and decrement, the number of connections that are going into a specific geographical square, turned out to be useless instead. Instead, what I do is when I actually render the image, it's just it's either white or black. Okay, and then this all gets this buffered image is then being rendered on the FireGuard panel. Again, I'll change the name before I publish this. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead. You can see there's a pixel. So what that tells us is we've received a TCP setup, or a TCP connection was constructed to some IP address. The GeoIP database that I used, which is an open source GeoIP service from this website. I use this open source one, and it associates that IP address with a location here. Let's create some more traffic. I've got 3 BitTorrents, 3 different Linux distributions. So I'll start all 3 of those. And this should create a vast number of TCP connections that we can monitor. We'll just wait. This is pretty encouraging. Okay, and what you're seeing here let's just give it a couple more minutes, but hopefully you recognize what you're seeing. You're seeing this is the outline of north of the United States, North America. You can vaguely make out the outline of South America. This is Europe. And this is stuff in Asia. I don't really know exactly what goes to what, I don't know if this is New Zealand or Australia or something else. I presume this is something, and maybe, I don't know. That looks too far up to be South Africa, but anyways, there you go. This is a pixel by pixel rendering of the Earth, where these are the TCP connections going through my firewall. And there you have it. This would probably look a whole lot more interesting on a large network where you have thousands of connections. Let's go back into that showcon command. So this tells us that we're looking at, 700 something TCP connections going through the firewall. That's feels like kind of a lot, but I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. I don't know what's normal. For my house, I would assume that that's quite a lot. I can stretch this a little bit. It doesn't do very well, but you can stretch it. It's using a little bit of linear algebra to try to fix it. You can really see that North America doesn't look so cool anymore. And yeah, if we close it and open it right back, that's actually a problem, because now all those sessions, we're not going to see another session setup message. So these are new sessions that we're seeing. So old sessions are still being brokered. But I can go and pause all of these, resume all of these, and ideally we should see lots of connections again open right up. So this is my newest side project, a method to visualize connections going through a Cisco adaptive security appliance using an open source GeoIP database, all rendered in native Java.